Hello.
Hi.
Don't know if there's anybody there watching us, but it's me and Sasha tonight.
Sasha tonight.
No copying.
No
That's
copying
not funny,
over there.
I tried the wars. We're hoping you like Sasha's night dress too. It's got some of her favourites on. I can see somebody's popped on to say hello.
How?
Well, see this little eye up the top? It tells
Okay.
you that there's somebody there. Don't know who it is yet, unless they say hello, like, or do a comment, but we'll find out soon. So while we're waiting, there's 3 people now. See the numbers going up 4.
Yeah.
Okay. There's Sophie.
Alan, thank you. Thank you. I've seen you before.
Yeah, you had. Sophie was watching last week, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So, yeah. And she likes Pokemon too, I think.
Yeah. So we have some cute news.
Cute news for you all this
so
week.
for those who didn't know, we should probably tell them.
What, the news?
Yeah. If you didn't know, we had a cat Lotus. If you, we did have 2 cats, but the other one did go. Not really missing, but the other one did go on the sad event. That's most likely less to mention. Well, it pretty much died. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway, so we had 2 cats. Now we've got 1.
Kara's neglecting. Okay, yeah. And we're getting a new kitty. Hello Sasha, Kara's neglecting. What is your favourite music? I thought it was rock, but after discovering what band plays what, I realised I love pop music. Just like the big drops and like epic beats. That's just my kind of tunes.
And mine. I like pop music, don't I?
Yeah.
Take that.
Yeah.
You like more Katy Perry and who else?
One Direction.
One Direction.
I thought they were a rock band at first because boys.
No, they're definitely a pop band.
Yeah.
Should we see who's come on? Say hello. We've got
Sophie again, Stacey, Joe, Katie, Donna.
Maria.
I am a long supporter of Steph's Cute Girls blog lol.
Oh.
Anyway, back to the kitten news.
Back to the kitten news. Yeah.
So for a while, we've been working for not only a replacement, but like. What is your favourite TV? We're going to be interrupted by.
Yeah, but that's okay. You can answer the questions.
Okay, so what is my favourite TV programme? So it kind of depends, like whether it's like literal on TV or just like on Netflix or whatever. It's kind of hard to decide. Like naturally, I'm not a fan of like real life action movies because they just seem a bit too scary. So like that gets Harry Potter right out of the question.
No, Harry Potter.
Yeah, but I would have to say, I think Pokemon in one way or another, but I don't know exactly which Pokemon, so...
All of them.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, I think Kalos is my favourite so far, but yeah, I can't decide between Kalos or Alola. Anyway, back to the kitten news, fine.
Back to the kitten news, yeah.
So... we've been working for we've been working for a little bit of like not a replacement, but like someone to take Stampy's place. So yeah, replacement. And we have been looking in a kitty adoption, and we have found the perfect kitten.
Was it the first kitten we saw?
No.
Well,
It
close.
It took a few weeks, but on Friday, and you like Squishy's Feather Adventures. Lily loves it. Well, yeah, it kind of depends on which episode, but yeah, I'm picky about episodes, but yeah.
But you are a Squishy fan, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm actually going...
Yeah, you can tell them what you did for Squishy the other day.
Yeah.
Well, not for it, but when you took Squishy's song and wrote your own lyrics to it.
I'm afraid I can't hear because I'm going with the sound at my phone.
Is it?
Oh, that's a little mean.
We can wave.
Cute kitten, when you get kitten Mickey. Once he's old enough, he's like 6 or 7. I think he's like 6.5 weeks old.
Yeah.
But he can only join us when he's 8 weeks old. So we've got to wait 1.5 weeks pretty much.
Yeah, as long as he's well then as well.
Yeah.
So in a couple of weeks probably, I'm guessing.
Anyway, back to Squishy.
Back to Squishy, yeah, you like Squishy.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to not steal, but kind of use her song for a special show. Yeah, like a special show. For those who are just too curious, It's called Sunshine Moonlight, and I'm still writing the first episode script, so a long way from releasing.
It'll be good, won't it?
Yeah. But specifically aimed at girl teenagers, but it's not live action. It is animation because I don't want it to be too complex in the script and all that. So yeah, animation. Anyway, on to some questions. So if you guys want to ask me questions, feel free.
Do you see what Laura's written?
Yeah. Oh wait, oh no. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, so do you watch? Okay, so slow down, comments, and read these. Okay, so do you watching any Emily Minecraft videos? Again, it depends which videos. But I do like Emily, but again, it depends which episodes. Okay, so what do you miss about being home all the time and now that you're at school? I completely don't understand that.
What? Because you're at school now.
Yeah.
Well, not right now because it's the Easter holidays.
Yeah.
But next week when you go back, what do you miss most about home?
Definitely the computer and iPad. I'm like way bigger game fan. I don't read. I don't do any of that stuff. I game all night, all day.
Terrible.
Do you like reading, Sasha? If so, do you have a favourite author topic? Well, again, depends what the book is.
You don't read a lot of books, do you? But sometimes you like comics, don't you?
But yeah, every now and again. I do read old books every now and again, but like if I'm going to do it every now and again, all the time, no, that's not. Do you like Fortnite?
Oh, have you heard of Fortnite?
Yes.
Because I only heard about this recently. Do you play it?
No.
Oh, good.
I've heard of it through Dan TDM and Okay, you guys are going a bit too fast here. Fortnite, I don't really fancy the game. Like, I don't like RPGs because that just spends too much time fighting an enemy and not time. Okay, so calm down, chat, because I need to read like good questions. Okay, would you like to design and build your own computer game? 100%.
Yes.
Yes. So
Sounds like a good idea, doesn't it?
have you played Scribblenauts? Yes, I have played it, but I haven't finished it because normally I'm kind of the easy puzzle gal. I don't go for a challenge. I like easy sneezy.
Easy sneezy.
Would you like eating at home and at school? So
Good
school.
question.
Yeah. So this is going to sound a little crazy. So at school, there was not really a suggestion. My favourite things were potatoes. At school, they were just so yummy. The secret potato recipe. And you may have noticed I said potatoes. That's what I call them. I don't call them potatoes. They're just too yummy to be called potatoes. I call them potatoes. I can only say them in that voice. Potatoes.
And what about anything else at school?
Not really. I do eat some things every now and again, but potatoes is the main thing. And at home, definitely McDonald's.
Yeah, we don't have that every day, do we?
No, but anyway. We haven't finished Scribblenauts yet either. I like to be your friend.
Interesting.
A lot of fun.
But go back to what do you like eating at home?
Mini pepperoni.
Mini or big ones now?
The big mini pepperoni.
Big pepperonis,
It's a little confusing, but once you get the hang of it, you got the hang of it.
It's good.
Yeah. But what job would you like to do the most when you grow up? That's actually what I'm kind of confused. I'm kind of confused between cat adoption centres, like a cattery or something. Like a baker's, like hosting a brilliant bakery or something. Or like an author or something. I don't think you show coming along. I'm going to have to be like the director and producer and stuff, so
yeah.
That's going to be a lot of balancing. Where do you live?
Don't have that, do we? Personal information. Don't give that out.
You know this is a live stream, right?
Yeah.
Everyone could hear that.
I know, but that's true. We can tell everyone that.
Okay.
So, any more jobs that you want to do?
Not really. Like those
That
are
was
the
enough,
underlying
wasn't
jokes. I was considering being a fashion designer a bit, but now I'm kind of down on fashion.
Yeah.
Anyway, which comics do you like? Really just depend. you're making an amazing presenter like Dante Gim. Being honest, I don't really know Dante Gim as a presenter. I just know him as a brilliant YouTuber with like over 1 billion views and stuff.
That's what he's doing when he talks about his games. He's presenting.
Kind of random games. And if any you guys actually do have YouTube or anything, go ahead, check out my channel under the name of KittyCat321. They are low quality videos. They are kind of interesting, so long you whatever. Anyway, what do you think about the fact that your mum writes about you and your sister on a blog? Being honest, I don't mind. Like, socially, I don't want the spotlight to be on me, and we're like, oh, that guy's even better than you. You are just stupid. In public, like, I like being public, but in public, that's when I get really shy-embarrassed.
Shy-embarrassed. You're good at making up words, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like nervous and excited is.
Nervous-sighted.
Nervous-sighted, yeah. So shy-embarrassed is a new one.
Yeah.
Shy and embarrassed. I get it.
How do you cope starting a new school? Again, really does depend, but starting my new school, but like, that just fixed the broken heart. Like, after split up at my old school, going to the new school, I just love it.
Good.
I'm going to be sub to you on YouTube. Okay, thanks.
Thank you. You like subscribers, don't you?
Yeah.
You have to make some more videos soon.
Yeah, and if you're actually getting enough subscribers, I think you can get money if you get enough subscribers.
And you have to get a lot of subscribers to make money from YouTube.
Yeah. You can get play buttons if you reach like, what, 1 million?
Look at all the likes and the hearts. Thank you so much, everybody there. They're good, aren't they, to see those popping up. So, is that done for now? We told them about Mickey, new kitten coming soon.
You haven't told what Mickey is. Like, I don't know what kind of breed he is, but he's just a tiny kitty. So, are there many other girls at your new school? No, actually kind of the opposite. There are quite a lot of boys. There are girls there, but just not as many at my old school as at my old school. There's a crazy amount of boys. There's like only 3 girls in the classroom, including me. It's like over half the classroom is made out of boys.
How many boys then in your class?
About 1 million. The class isn't actually that big. I think there's I can't remember. Big subject you enjoy the most at school. Now that is a difficult one because I've not really been there for a while. Like, I've been there for at least a week, but yeah, I haven't really been there that much. But like, I would say either cooking or art. Anyway, do you miss your old friends? Yeah, I do have play dates with them every now and again, and hopefully a new sleepover. But still, I do miss them quite a bit. Yeah, same as my old school. Not many girls and loads of boys. Still me. To be honest, I prefer my own gender. I'm not a boy fan. I prefer girls way more than boys. Sorry guys out there, but yeah, I'm just a girl fan.
That might change.
They're beautiful dresses, and sometimes they've bad pun incoming. Beautiful.
Beautiful. The girls can be beautiful.
And really comfy Nikes, I might add. Little girl, drag. I think girls do pop a little bit more.
Do pop and rock, yeah.
You are teaching everyone about PDA, well done.
PDA is the type of autism we talked about.
Who are your characters on your top? Okay, so these are basically just a bunch of Pokemon characters. You can just see like Pikachu down there, Eevee, Jigglypuff, Mew, and Meow. Squirtling, Togepi, but you guys can't see them. You guys are going to... What's your YouTube channel again, Sasha? My 7-year-old Libby wants to start his own YouTube channel, and I'd love to show him yours. It's KittyCat321.
KittyCat321.
Yeah. That's why I go to girls group, to be with other girls. Savage boys. Savage.
Savage to the boys. Savage is a new cool word. Didn't have that when I was growing up. Cool. Well, we've had loads of questions.
Question time, only 9.99.
Hi Sean.
Hi Sean.
That's Sean's my baby.
Have you done anything fun in spring break? Not that... Lol, savage. Not that fun. I'm doing a sleepover at the end of it, but I'm not going to let too much info about that.
No. But what else? We've been to see the kitten a few times.
Yeah. A friend of ours from ages away.
Oh yeah, some of our good old friends came to visit us with a dog, didn't they?
Yeah, wait.
Okay.
I want to hear...
Let's just keep going.
Hi Sasha, thanks for doing this video. I'm a bit late to it. My son has the same type of disorder as you. Do you have any advice for me as his mummy? Kind of keep track of like the likes and dislikes. Then you can kind of know what to expect. And if something goes wrong, just let them breathe it out. I'll let them be alone for a little while. But if it's been over an hour and they still shout at you if you come in, talk to them and try and calm them down, as I've learned the hard way.
No, you do pretty well.
Yeah. And yeah,
if
they've got her, I'd say once you hear fake crying, you should probably go straight to them just to check on them. Probably anyway.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you like to have children when you are older? Obvi.
That's a good one.
When you are
Obviously.
the best.
We've been talking about that today, haven't you? About children and having children.
Yeah.
And what you would
People are giving favourites like wildfire here.
Yeah, that's nice, isn't it? All those hearts. What were you saying about your
So
children?
many
Hang on. Do you remember what you were saying about your children? About letting them eat McDonald's?
Yeah. If I check for all the, like, if you guys are planning on having children, I would check if you like having eating tradition. First, I would check all of the allergies. I would double and triple check to make sure of any allergies. Are allergies genetic?
They can be, yeah.
I think your mum has should have a matching top to yours. What do you think? It's not really a top, it's actually like a nightie.
A nightie, yeah. Could wear a nightie like
Hi
that.
Sasha, how would be the best way to stop my daughter talking to me horribly when she's in a mood? So like a mood swing. I would leave, like I said, I would leave her alone, but if it's been an hour and she's still mad, you should probably talk to her and just get her to do what she really loves so that you can calm her down a bit.
What would it be that you really love that calms you down?
Really easy gaming.
Really easy gaming. Yeah, nothing like that gets you too frustrated. Like,
No, because hard gaming, when there's like too many collectibles or there's just this one boss that I can't even beat, that's when I get really frustrated. I like really easy gaming because I just find that fun instead of really hard gaming. That's great advice. Thank you. You had a McDonald's tonight. I have it every week. That's a really bad diet, being honest.
Every once a week.
Do you like the Peter Rabbit Happy Meal toys? We got the butter toy tonight. I only really eat the French fries. I don't really eat the burgers or anything. I'm only eating it for the French fries because they're just too good. What do you love the most about my mum? Because she is always there for me and is not an idiot like my dad.
You're not supposed to say that.
Or as I call him,
It's
AVSI.
a joke. It's an in-joke, AVSI. Yeah.
I just love calling him an idiot. It's just so funny, idiot. No.
But it's a joke.
Yeah, technically. Although sometimes he can be a little bit on the cleverness side.
Cleverness was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too clever.
Lol. Same as Lily, she's the fries and I eat the burger. Lol. The buzzer toy was rubbish, or so my kids told me. Sashi, you are so funny. Oh, thank you. I'm a big movie star.
You could be on stage when you're older, couldn't you?
Well, yeah, I'd probably get stage fright and run right off.
Yeah, maybe. But you might just make everyone laugh a lot.
I just intentionally mess up my parts and everyone just laughs.
Yeah.
But I don't want anyone to laugh at me because that's just embarrassing.
Laugh with you, not at you. There's a difference. If they
Yeah.
find you funny, that's good. Yeah, no silly faces.
My face is
have you
dead.
done? You've done a lot of talking. I don't know if there's any more questions. I think we might be done on the questions. And remember, I've got to read out my post-it, so...
Oh, yeah.
So, let's see.
Rick Sash started a video. I don't think he has a channel, does he? No.
He doesn't have a channel, whether I'd let him do one on here.
You remind me of me, lol. I remind you of yourself. Has anyone got any other questions, though?
Probably done quite a lot of questions, haven't you?
Yeah.
People might be all out of questions.
Yeah.
What do you think? Time to go back to gaming?
Or what?
Hi, Katie. Kate, I used to work with Katie years and years and years ago.
Ooh.
I don't even like to think how many years ago that was. It's working there.
Thank you for brightening up my night, Sasha. Thank you. Is your mum allowed to read it? Yeah. Well, maybe. Do you find it easier to talk to your mum than anyone else? It kind of depends on what mood I am. If I'm sad, normally I just scream at everyone else and just only that, and then just only talk to mum. If I'm angry, I don't really talk to anyone. You've done really well, thank you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.
Bye.
Meow!
There you go, Laura says you're awesome. Are you gone now?
Meow.
Okay. I'll carry on then. You take your chair and close the door. Thank you, everybody, for all the questions. That was really nice. I've not asked her to come and join in. She just decided she wanted to. So I don't know whether this is going to be a regular thing. I'm going to have to get you all to think of lots more questions for every week going forward. But yeah, thanks for all those. That was really good. And it's nice, obviously, when she's in a good mood. She's very chirpy, and it's nice to get her joining in. So thank you, everybody. I am going to carry on, and because I've probably been on ages already now, but I'm going to get on and read this week's our PDA story. It is, again, a longish one, a lot of detail, and quite a difficult story to follow today. But hopefully you can, still get something from it and the experiences, and, some of it, well, all of it makes total sense to me. So see what you think. Have you got any comments yet? Yeah, so for the sensible segment, yeah. So I'll just get on with the post. If anyone's still there at the end, that's fine. Okay, so it starts. My son Joe is diagnosed with PDA, ASD, ADHD, SPD and anxiety. So for those people who don't talk in anagrams like we all tend to, PDA is pathological demand avoidance, ASD, autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactive disorder, SPD is sensory processing disorder, and anxiety. He attended mainstream nursery and did okay there. He loves free play and is very, almost obsessively social with his peers. He has to be around people, usually playing alongside or on his own, but with people around. He struggles terribly with sleep because he feels alone, and I still have to be awake with him if he is awake or he has a panic attack. He started mainstream primary and did okay in reception in year 1, as it was still play-based and he was in control. He taught himself to read and maths. Joe mainly learns by teaching himself, as he has to be motivated to learn something or he avoids it. We were struggling at home at this stage as we were using Webster Stratton parenting after CALMS, Child and Adolescent Mental Health Services, told us he was definitely not autistic. School and social services agreed any problems were due to poor parenting. Joe went into year 2 and a teacher told me she was going to break him of what I now know is PDA, and suddenly Joe could not cope in school. Year 2 they had to sit at desks and do what they were told, which he could not tolerate. Joe began to run out of class and hide, then violent meltdowns, never hurting a child, generally directed at furniture, but occasionally members of staff if they backed him into a corner. By the beginning of year 3 at school, CALMS and social services were all agreed that he was autistic, and he was rapidly diagnosed. From the beginning of year 3, he had 1-to-1 full-time in school, but spent most of his time in isolation as he could not cope with the demands of school, and his method of avoiding mainly consisted of disrupting the class. If they tried to push him, he would melt down. His anxiety was through the roof, he was extremely violent at home, and we were put under child protection due to the risks to his brothers if he seriously injured me. This was after 3 to 4 years of social services involvement for at least a couple of years, having a support worker out every week, watching me parent and not understanding his extreme responses. At the Child Protection Conference, everyone round the table said the family were doing nothing wrong, yet we ended up under child protection. It was the very worst experience of my life. I have never been so terrified as I was then for fear of losing my child. At this point, Cams reviewed Joe to see if he could have medication. No was the answer. The right school will sort him out. And they told me all his behaviour was due to anxiety. This statement was my light bulb moment. I went home and we completely changed how we lived. Overnight, we started doing gentle parenting and collaborative problem solving. You see the Explosive Child book by Dr. Ross Green. We gave Joe as much control of his life as he could have, bearing in mind he has 2 younger siblings, one of whom also has ASD and ADHD. He was given a room of his own downstairs that he controlled, but we always maintain there are communal areas that we all have a say over. Overnight, the violent meltdown stopped. He'd been in meltdown for about 2 to 5 hours per day and seriously violent up to this point. Slowly he calmed and became happier, and we discovered a phrase in his diagnosis uses a number of demand avoidance strategies. We discovered PDA, and it was like someone writing specifically about Joe. A pathological avoidance of demands, and he sees demands everywhere, even his body wanting a drink or me suggesting to go to his favourite place. Role play, superficial sociability, intense mood swings, etc. We began to see why Joe reacted the way he did and why autistic strategies did not help him. We introduced more PDA strategies into our gentle parenting, so giving him time to process, reducing demands, etc. And finally, we felt we were understanding Joe. Meanwhile, in Year 4, Joe started at a local maintained EBD special school. EBD is emotional and behavioural disorder difficulty, and I think now they're SEMH, which is social and emotional mental health schools. He was so terribly scared of the other children that he really struggled, and although for a while he masked at school, telling me he was screaming in his head, eventually he could not cope anymore and had a breakdown at the end of Year 5. He spent Year 6 on roll but signed off school with anxiety while we attempted to homeschool him. We do homeschool his middle brother as he cannot cope or learn in mainstream without support, which there are no funds for. After 2 terms together with Joe, we decided homeschool did not work for him. He felt home was for home and not for school. Mum and Dad are not teachers, and so he refused to let us teach him, and most of all he missed his friends. By now, Joe had a good group of local friends, and he was starting to go to the park with them or have them around to play. They were all going to the local high school, and Joe was very keen to join them. So after a number of meetings, he was given a place at the high school with one-to-one support. His statement was converted to an EHCP, an Education, Health and Care Plan, at this point too. Joe started at the school, but because they did not make any reasonable adjustments for him, he was excluded within 6 days of starting after a panic attack or a meltdown during CAP tests, even though I had strongly requested that he did not take these tests. Joe did not yet have a PDA diagnosis, so no strategies for that could be put into his EHCP, no matter how much I asked for it. However much I spoke to the school, they could not make accommodations for his PDA, as this would upset other pupils and affect their Ofsted, as they would be seen as allowing poor behaviour. They are outstanding as far as Ofsted is concerned. Joe was put onto a half-day timetable, but further exclusions and isolations for being verbally abusive and disruptive to avoid the demands of school. Punching one child who was bullying him, this is the one and only time in his whole school career that he has hit out at another child, led to him having his timetable reduced to 2 hours a day, and by October the school asked for Joe to be moved to a more specialised setting. Joe was devastated as he loved the school, and being with his friends he just could not cope with the demands of the lessons, and he needed reasonable adjustments. Joe had a complete breakdown at this point. He was hearing voices and seeing things, his speech could be random, he was speeding up and slowing down at different times, and he became both suicidal and extremely violent at home. We had to call the police and an ambulance as his mental health was so poor. Eventually, the disability team of social services became involved as we had to move his brothers out to my parents to protect them, and Joe was in a terrible state. We were assigned a fantastic social worker. She is totally on Joe's side and is very, very good at getting everyone involved to pull their weight, including us. Her support has been invaluable, and she managed to get Joe a personal budget which we've been using to take him out while we try and find a PA. At this point, Joe tried to go back to the mainstream school, but he could not cope and walked out with friends as he was scared on his own. Truant cried school and insisted he did 3 days in isolation. The school rule is only 1 day, but the school were incredibly flexible and decided because he was only doing 2 hours a day, then they wanted him to do 3 days of isolation. He saw this as unfair and refused, so the school then told us they had to permanently exclude him. But as this would make them look bad, we were asked to keep him at home, still on roll, whilst a new school was found. By this time, the beginning of January in his year 7, I had contacted every suitable school, even residential, though we really did not want him in residential, as Joe is such part of our local community, in 3 counties, and none would take him. All were far too worried about how Joe would impact on their Ofsted ratings. Seriously, this was their major concern. County said Joe would have to go to a specialist independent school and tried to find one, but none would take Joe. Eventually we found a tiny specialist independent school 45 minutes drive away who said they had experience with PDA, and they said they would try and have Joe in their school. Joe started the independent school in May of his year 7 and did not like it. In his eyes, it was not school. He was part-time and then full-time for half a term. He began to avoid the demand of the schoolwork again by disrupting his class, it was maximum 3 pupils in a class, or by being verbally abusive to staff or pupils. He was panicking at the demands they were putting on him. He was excluded for a few days, and we had a meeting where I tried to explain it was the work and asked for demands to be reduced. Things got progressively worse until he was verbally abusive to a pupil whilst trying to avoid the demands of the schoolwork. The school say they can no longer have Joe in school due to the risk to the other child and himself, as the other child may physically attack him. They can't permanently exclude as he has not done enough to permanently exclude him. So yet again, Joe is sitting at home bored and sad, on roller to school but not allowed in. Right now we're going to start a fight, and school are supporting, to get a personal budget for him to have tutors or sports lessons at home and in the community. There are no schools to my knowledge that will take Joe, and he has missed so much education. We just need to move quickly so he does not miss any more. This seems logical to me, but I'm sure my LA will dig their heels in, as it's much cheaper to have Joe sitting at home, out of education, as he has done for nearly 2 years now, than to fund a personal budget and to give him an education. The impact of the constant exclusions from school on Joe has been immense. His mental health, confidence and hope have all suffered. When I asked him yesterday what he wanted to do when he was older, so we could plan some work around that, he said, "I'm going to sleep on the streets," and he was adamant about this. The school system has left my bright and able son with so little hope that he sees his future as being homeless and on the streets. Sorry this story is so long. I'm very sad at the position we are in and feel we really need to fight the education system so that the next group of children with PDA will have their needs met in school by the schools adapting to the child's needs rather than the mess that has been made of my own son's school life. On the positive side, I do have to say the main things that have kept Joe going through this terrible time are his wonderful but a bit rough around the edges group of friends, his family's endless devotion and love for him, and his social workers' support. I'm hoping and praying that we can get a personal budget and Joe's school story will have a happy ending. So that's quite, I'm getting red patches. That is sad, and sorry, for people hearing it, it's kind of, you don't really believe it, I think, but I know, this family is really brave sharing this story with me, but I have heard this story before from other people. It's not a one-off, sadly. There's a lot of children like this, in the county I'm sitting in now even, but, across the country, there's a lot of children who are not being treated the right way, and it is sad, tears to my eyes. But I just, I can see, and that's why I'm so passionate about telling people about PDA, because, even with a diagnosis, the child's needs are not being recognised and listened to, and because people are so stuck in the old way of parenting, the old way of educating, of trying to make them fit into a system that really isn't suitable. I mean, it's not suitable for, it's okay for a lot of children, but it's not necessarily the best for a lot of children, but definitely for these children it is not doing anything for them. And yes, it's horrible to read, but I do hope there is a future. That the whole thing, just jumping right to the end about a personal budget, it is something that councils can agree to, and actually the cost of educating, doing some special lessons for a child, they maybe only need a few sessions a week to still keep an interest in something, to meet, other children, other adults, and kind of work with people. But it's so difficult to get around that red tape and the bureaucracy about what, giving money up, even though that child is perfectly entitled to a school place, and that, like this family says, sitting at home not using it, they're saving the council by doing that, or at least they would be, I think, if they elected to home educate, not if they're still on roll. So there is slight grey area there, but it just, you know, it's so difficult for families to get the kind of help that children need. So school isn't for everybody. Some of these schools might have worked if there'd been more flexibility. You could say that. I'm just going to go back. Sorry, was there not a happy ending? That was kind of, oh yeah, sorry, red patches, Sophie, on my neck. I don't know if you can see these terrible red patches when I'm angry or upset about things. But yeah, just sort of going back, I know it's angry that, I know Laura says she feels angry. It makes me angry too that people can't sort this out. Just going back a minute, that some points have highlighted the fact that he was diagnosed, but not until the beginning of his year 3, when he'd already been watched by CAMHS for 2 years previously. They'd had people in the home watching him, and still nobody picked up on the fact, you know, this was actually autism and the disability and the anxiety, not just bad parenting. You know, that is thrown at people. That's the first conclusion that is jumped to, is that it's poor parenting, when, you know, there must be so many other signs when they're spending that much time with the family and the child. But, you know, even listening to the families, not many families want to make this up about how difficult their child is. So yeah, that's kind of upsetting, the whole social services, you know, that the risk or the threat of having your child taken away from you is a terrible thing. And, you know, and again, it's not just his family. I've heard this happen to many families across the country who have children with PDA, you know, either diagnosed or that the parents suspect, but it's quite common to have involvement. So, you know, it's kind of, I would beg and plead any CAMHS services, you know, if we can get this message out to any people who are in the child and adolescent mental health services, to really start understanding this more. I think autism is not a speciality for them, you know, they're not trained in it, but if there's anybody out there who could pick it up and try and take this forward, that would be much appreciated by many. And then I'm sort of moving on to, I've highlighted the light bulb moment is something that a lot of parents of children with PDA mention, that kind of understanding that your child is different and that it's all anxiety driven, and that it's about how you approach them, talk to them. I think, you know, Sasha answered the question a bit earlier about what you need to do when she's getting angry, you know, and that just basically leave her to calm down, and, you know, as little talking as possible. There's all the strategies that I've put in a post in my blog before. It's kind of understanding that works, the explosive child, gentle parenting, collaborative problem solving, sort of working with your child, and not, I know it sounds like airy-fairy and like you're just being too kind on them, but it's when you start really thinking about what demands you do need to put on a child and who needs to be in control and how that works. Because one of the things that, again, a bit further down, they said this boy was given a room of his own that he controlled, but there were still boundaries, there were communal areas that they all had a say over. So he appreciated that he needed to, you know, to work with his brothers, and that there were places and things and times he would have to not have full control. So there's boundaries there. That's a family who are setting boundaries, but by just giving a little bit more leeway and giving control and space to, you know, let those anxieties go, then that's different to just letting a child have their own way all the time and walking all over you, which is, you know, what some people might suggest. And then again, a little bit further down is that thing about autistic strategies did not help him. So strategies that are typically recommended for autism were at one point recommended for Sasha, and very quickly I pointed out why they don't work, because they tend to focus around typical parenting, but being much stricter, having very strict routines, because a lot of children with autism do like that routine. They like to know what's happening. Children with PDA like that often as well, but they like to have some sort of control, and they do like to have a bit of spontaneity thrown in just to keep us on our toes. So yeah, they're kind of the whole idea. It's not that they don't appreciate any rules, but it's not so rigid as you would be with general autism or Asperger's syndrome. So yeah, that was kind of the main highlights on that page. And then the one thing I really picked up on is, like us, really, you know, we had Sasha at home for 8 months before she got into this new school, and people keep asking me, what did you do in that time? You know, were you home educating? It's kind of, I would love to home educate Sasha if she wanted to be. Well, I say that, not I'd love to, but I would do it willingly for her if I thought it would help. But as this mum said, Sasha very much feels home is for home. It's not school. Home is a place she relaxes, she plays her games, she does all of that. It was a little different last time she was out of school for so long because we didn't know it was going to be so long, but that's often the case for children like this where placements aren't working. You never really know what the next stage is going to be, so it's very difficult to put plans in place. But that's, yeah, they're kind of the different for Sasha. She's never asked to be educated at home. It seems like people think, oh, children would much rather be at home because it's easier. Sasha didn't want to be at home. She wanted to be in a school. She wanted to be with other children. And that's, I think, yes. So Sophie's asking, PDA children have autism? Yes. So PDA is a type of autism. So it's similar in some ways. There's still the 3 areas, they say, of difficulty: social interaction, social communication, and I've completely forgotten off the top of my head the other one. But PDA children, yeah, tend to be more sociable, and they like role play. They have quite good imaginations. There's a few things that sort of set them apart, and definitely for the strategies, there's a lot that you need to do to kind of keep the anxieties low that you don't necessarily need to do. Some children, obviously, with classic autism and Asperger's can have high anxiety about particular things as well, but for children with PDA, it's there in everything they're doing before they leave the house in the morning, all day long. It's, you know, over basic things about not having that control and giving over that control to someone else, and that's kind of the difference. Yeah, Michelle, that's great that you've got someone who's got an understanding of PDA, and yeah, it does. I mean, you know, we've been really lucky. I've always said with Sasha all along that people involved with her have listened to us and tried to work with Sasha in the way that helps her best. And I think with Sasha, it's kind of you either do it or you don't, because she's not going to work with that. She doesn't do any masking and pretending that things are going okay. It's just kind of flat out refusal and meltdown, really, if you're not approaching her in the right way at the right time and you haven't got to understand what her anxieties were about. So yeah, that's kind of the whole homeschool thing, home educating. Will it ever work for us? I don't know, but Sasha would have to really want it to work. She'd have to be asking for that to work. Again, it's not something I can impose on her and just decide that's what we're going to do. It would be very much child-led learning. The last thing I'd kind of highlighted was about starting at the secondary school, the local high school, secondary school. They knew that this child had difficulties. He had a full EHCP, which is all the paperwork that you get to sort of explain all those difficulties. He had a one-to-one support, and yet they still excluded him within 6 days. I mean, that's kind of almost unbelievable, really. I mean, even within 6 months is too soon when you know that all those accommodations need to be made. But yeah, the kind of, you know, if the parents as well are saying up front the kind of thing that would stress him out, the CAT test, then yeah, you know, that's just crazy. The school there don't seem to have been very flexible at all. And often I think for children like this, it is that much more difficult, especially to fit into a bigger environment. You know, often that excuse of, well, we can't let one child do one thing because all the other children are going to want to do it, or, you know, it's going to upset them that he gets to go first in the lunch queue every day, or whatever it is. It's not, all those other children don't need to do that, and, you know, most of them won't even really care. You might get the odd one or two, and obviously I'm not a teacher in a class of children, but I think, you know, a lot of people would back me up on this, that not all the children need to do all the same thing. So it's about working out really what the difference is, and it's not that you say yes to one, no to all the others. It's about explaining the needs and trying to work with that. So yeah, it's an interesting story, a sad one. I definitely wish it hadn't happened, but as I said, I know it's not the only story like this from families in this country. So I think the more we talk about it, the more we get it out there, and the more other people understand that you can be flexible, you can do things that work around the system a little bit. You know, it's not all about this, or it shouldn't be all about this sausage factory idea that all children turn out the same, they go in the same. They don't. They're all different to start with. So yeah, it's. I see. I'm just reading other comments now. So I was reading Sophie's. Would I give autism advice to people like adults? I'm not quite sure whether you mean would I give autism advice to adults, or I kind of, one way I try and help is by explaining to other parents about PDA so that they can help use the strategies with their children. So that's kind of what I try and focus on, really. You know, and I really appreciate everybody who has worked with Sasha and who's tried to be flexible with her, because obviously I do that at home, you know, and that's in our situation. I'm used to doing that now over the years, you know, and I have space and I don't have a lot of other children to deal with at the same time, so I appreciate there's a whole load of different issues that come in when Sasha's at school, so I very much appreciate that. And part of me would love to go and work with children like this in schools as well, but I think personally I'm probably better talking to adults than I am to children as a whole. That's just me. So yeah, and Dom said see these anxieties every day in GCSE year, and yeah, I mean GCSE is what a lot of pressure for any child that year, and it is very demoralising, you know, especially when a child starts off knowing already that they're not going to really be achieving what some of the other children are achieving, because they're already at a disadvantage before they even start with that pressure. So yeah, really difficult school and education for all children with autism really. But yeah, so yeah, tough story tonight, so sorry about that one, but thank you so much to the family who shared it, because as I said, it wasn't easy, but yeah, really appreciate if you kind of can get out and help me spread the word about PDA. I'm looking forward to next week. A bit busy because there's going to be a PDA conference that the PDA Society are holding in Birmingham next Wednesday. So I will be there helping out, live tweeting from the event, and yeah, just generally helping out the day. But there'll be great workshops. Other people and parents with PDA will be talking on the day. The people who've been involved heavily in research with PDA. So there's going to be a lot of good information coming back out of that, because obviously every year that goes on, people understand more about it, and we just want to spread the word to as many people as possible. So I'm trying to catch up with Sophie now. If an autistic adult had a problem related to autism, would I give advice to them like a counsellor? I mean, I'm not trained. Another thing I thought of doing, so it's very difficult for me, excuse me, to work with Sasha, having been out of school for a long time and with not really knowing how this next placement's going to go. So I don't have an official job. Well, I did have an official job, obviously, before I had children, and since I've done other bits of work, and I do work around Sasha where I can. But being a counsellor is actually something I would love to do, but I know it involves quite a bit of training. So I'm not sure that I have the time to go back to training to do that. So, but we'll see, you know, in the future it might be possible. We'll see how well things go for Sasha in the future. So yeah, Michelle's saying, keep talking with the local authorities, you'll get there. 20 teachers in the LA doing training on PDA next week, and 30 clinicians doing training next month, which is brilliant. The more PDA training we can get out there, the better. So I'm going to be attempting that myself around here next month, month after next. So yeah, thank you everybody for listening in again this week. And yeah, there will be definitely things going on next week. And then in May, there's a National Awareness Day. So, you know, I'm not going to be letting this drop this year. So busy bit. Thanks everyone for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of your holidays if you're still on holiday. Bye.